Ganso's early advantage quickly disappeared in the dust of the two night stages, allowing Habig to take a 25-second lead into day 2. Rueda made the most of the bigger dust gap to win both night stages and jump up to third, with Keen the big loser as he dropped to fourth. Van der Walt lost time with incorrectly set lights and the dust, while Berger suffered a broken drive shaft and dust problems, dropping him to 9th. Conditions greeted competitors on day 2. Ahead lay 8 fast special stages comprising a total of 160 kilometers.
Serge, after 3 stages yesterday, you had a handy 12-second lead. 4th stage, all went wrong for you.
Yeah, fortunately the 4th stage was quite a fast stage, and the dust was quite heavy, and you know, from 160, 170 k's we dropped down to 3rd gear. You lose quite a lot of time. So fortunately that's one of those things, and we'll have to see how it goes today.
You've got to catch Yanni and finish ahead of him. Big task today.
If I can get that right, I'll be happy, man. It's a big day of taking chances. So myself and Serge lost a lot of time to Habig. We're not happy with that. We've got about 40 seconds to make up today. I think it's going to be painful.
Etienne, you're 6th on the road, heading class, but it wasn't a trouble-free run for you yesterday.
No, we went into the first dirt stage with a flat wheel 10 k's from the end, so that wasn't a good start. Also a very loose surface, so it made it difficult, lost a bit of time. And I'm struggling with brakes, so I think we'll try and sort it out today. I've run a different tyre setup and trying to get the big tyres in the front for the speed, and it's causing my brakes to be all over the place. So yeah, it's difficult. I've got to go back to the same tyre setup as before. Just run the same tyre size in front and rear.
Leon, you had a good event on the mountain trail last time out, but 18th after day 1, tough day at the office yesterday.
Yeah, we had a bit of a problem. One of the computer sensors went down. We couldn't fix it in time between the last 2 stages. So we were using about 4,000 revs. And then to crown it all, the last stage, the farmer's cattle broke loose. And we were, of course, Murphy's Law, you know, arriving first on a scene there. We lost about 2.5 to 3 minutes waiting for cattle to come out of the road. In this instance, they tried to outrun the car, not give way for us to come through. So it was
Subaru Cape Rally. We're at the start of day 2, and Yanni, obviously, he'd like to win the event, but he obviously has to drive with the championship in mind as well.
I think he'll probably be happy if he just finishes ahead of Enzo. You know, I don't think it's going to be that serious to him if Serge actually pulls off this one, because he's not in the running.
Let's talk a bit about the format of this rally. It's created a lot of unhappiness amongst the crews and drivers and media and everybody, really. It was a really strange start to the rally yesterday.
Quite painful, actually, because everybody had to rush to the start at 3 o'clock. Then they all sat around at Killarney for 2 hours waiting for the first stage to happen. And then out to the night stages. They could actually have done the 2 night stages in daylight, which would have eliminated all the dust controversy. But, you know, this also happened last year, and organisers doesn't seem to listen to what the competitors want anymore.
Yeah, they just, there seem to be other influences, and I mean, you spoke to the clerk of the course yesterday, and I mean, the reasons for it didn't really wash, did they?
No, I don't think it really justified the long wait. And in fact, if you really look at it, this whole thing could have been run on Saturday alone. Now everybody had to stay in the hotels for another night, and it just pushes up the cost of the event.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it makes it difficult for someone like Serge and Enzo who've lost time in dust to make it up. There are only 12 stages to do and very little time running. Sorry, 12 stages to do and very little time to make up a gap of 30 seconds.
12 stages and 2 night stages can actually influence the outcome, so that you're right there. It's you know, it's a bit of a, unless you're ready all the way through the night and have to give everybody the same type of chance to make it up. I think that's a bit stupid.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot at stake. I mean, a lot of money being invested, as you say, and you know, also from a publicity point of view, so much money, teams need the exposure, and it just doesn't work for rallying, and it really needs to be looked at.
Well, even if you look at our case, we couldn't do any, you know, we had a few shots yesterday for the TV, only at Killarney. Last night we couldn't do anything. So, yeah, maybe the guys have to rethink the whole format of events.
Back to the action, and Keen was immediately on a charge to win the stage by 8 seconds from Damso. Damso was in turn 16 seconds faster than Habig, who was losing time having to sweep the roads of loose gravel. Behind the leaders, both Sasol players lost time in the Class A7 fight, leaving Lawrence and Vermeulen in the Team Total Toyota Corolla as the clear class leaders and 6th overall. It would be a long, hard battle between these crews. Running 7th overall, Damso Jr. and Frey were still involved in a class championship battle with Trott and Snyman and could afford to ease up for a second. Although they'd opened a gap to their pursuers, Damso knew that anything could still happen, and the bigger the gap, the safer he felt. Burrows were running 8th overall, but were determined to put their setbacks of the previous day behind them and still chase for the class win. Burger was another who was not happy with his road position. It fired him up, and he was as committed as they come in his quest to make up places. Locals Murray and Barnard were pedaling as fast as ever and now rounded out the top 10. Despite having the disadvantage of being first on the road, there was no lack of commitment from Habig in stage 6, run near Mariesburg. He finished the stage just 8 seconds down on Keen. Champion had enjoyed a good year thus far, with retirement on the Sasol Rally when he went off the road near the end, his only mishap. 2 wins and 3 second places in 6 events saw him well placed to achieve his aim of a 4th championship title. The championship race after a season of setbacks, Damso had only winning in mind. Having taken 16 seconds off Habig in stage 5 and another 7 in this stage, he was 2 seconds behind the leader with just 6 stages to go. The heat was on. After their superb performances during the night stages, the ever-improving Rueda and Buerta could not match the pace of the leading trio on day 2, but were still good enough for the 4th fastest time on the stage. More importantly for them, they were still leading Group N and would extend their championship advantage if they remained in the leading quartet. By friends in a helicopter, Keen and Aries were putting on a spectacular display of fast driving. 4th on the road worked to their advantage, and they maximized the benefit to win the opening 2 stages of the day. It was enough to close 32 seconds on the leaders, but they were still 16 seconds in arrears thanks to a 48-second day 1 deficit. For Class A7 honours was still raging as fiercely as expected in the extremely competitive class. Class A7 caters for cars with modified engines between 1600 and 2000 cc in capacity and sequential gearboxes. Fecken and Lufkovic had enjoyed mixed fortunes in the championship thus far. They had only 2 wins to their name, but finishes in all bar 1 event put them top of the class. In the form of Van der Walt and Lawrence hot on their heels, there was no letting up from the Volkswagen crew, and they equaled the latter's time in the stage. Having turned a 14-second overnight deficit into a 25-second lead over Fecken on the first stage of the day, Lawrence was a little cautious through stage 6, but even so, he managed to equal Fecken's time and maintain the status quo. Having suffered 3 non-finishes during the year, Lawrence knew that finishing this event was crucial to his championship hopes. Jr. continued his impressive run, taking time off Trott on every stage to extend his lead in Class A6 to almost 3.5 minutes by the end of the stage. After 3 non-finishes during the season, he could now afford to ease off a bit to ensure a rich points haul, but the big question was, would he do so? Burger was still driving like a man possessed as he clawed his way up the leaderboard. The reigning African rally champion had also experienced a terrible season thus far, with only one finish in 4 events to show for his efforts in the normally reliable Subaru. A win in a regional event shortly before the Cape Rally restored some confidence, and Burger expressed optimism before the rally that the car would go well in this event. Trott and Snyman have enjoyed their best season to date, but despite pushing hard to catch class leader Damso Jr., the latter was just too familiar with the local roads and continued to extend his advantage. Further down the field, Coleman and Koch were running 4th in Class A7 and chasing a top 10 finish. They had also had a mixed season and wanted to finish badly. Sanders and Gericke were still at the head of the Class N2 pack, but were under pressure from locals Wessel Venter and Patrick Johnson in a similar Corolla who were going well on their home event. Despite a cautious approach, team totals Rodney Fasagi and Carolyn Swan were now well ahead in Class A5 in their Toyota Taz, after rivals Kobus Roos and Brendan Noonan drowned their City Golf in the infamous water splash in Stage 5. Despite their ragged start at Killarney, Fisser du Plessis and Richard Clark were also still in the event and held down 4th place in Class A6 in their Car Cosmetics Toyota Corolla. Leon Puerta was another making up for time lost on day 1. Down in 18th overnight, he was steadily moving up the order in his usual win-or-bust style, giving new navigator Jerry Gericke some anxious moments in the process, no doubt.
Stephen Mearns, winner of the Castrol Media Challenge, first time out on the last event. This event not going quite according to plan, but still second in class.
Yeah, we've had a couple of hiccups. We just want to keep it going, keep it on the road now, you know. We lost a bit of time to Patrick in that big water splash. They just mark them as drifts and they're actually dams. But, you know, you just go with the flow and hopefully we can pick up a bit of time and pull it out at the end. Otherwise, we're having a jaw.
Okay, Patrick Gehring currently leading the Castrol Media Challenge. Patrick, good day today.
Yeah, no, we've had a far better run than we did last night. I think a bit of rusty nerves and all sorts in the dark last night. But yeah, we've been fortunate enough to claw back some time. I think a bit of misfortune from the cars in action front. I believe they got stuck in some water earlier on, and yeah, top car out with a blown motor, so puts us in a good place.
Yeah, and this is good for the championship. If you can hold this position, everyone's almost equal.
That's right, yeah. I mean, if we can get a win here today, means that we go into the last event on even points with Top Car. And cars in action right there as well. I think they'll be about 3 points adrift.
Stage 7 to cruise to the famous farmyard stage in the Bridgetown area. And as usual, Habich gave the large crowd something to cheer about with his spectacular style. Damso was no less exciting to watch as he matched Habich's time on the stage. Rueda was still cutting corners and dislodging barriers in the process. Nothing new here. Keane was also cutting corners in his efforts to close the 16-second gap to his teammate. He was successful this time, winning the stage by 10 seconds. Just 6 seconds now covered the first 3 cars. Fecken was in maximum attack mode as he fought Lawrence for the class lead, taking the stage win by just 7 seconds. It was a bad stage for Lawrence as he lost a minute to his class rivals Fecken and Van der Walt, handing Fecken a 41-second advantage. The younger Damso was still comfortably in the lead of his class. Enjoy him at work in the cockpit. Galt had lost more time on the first stage of the day, but was back on the pace now, winning his class in stage 6 and shadowing Fecken on the stage. There was no let-up in pace from Burger either, as he hurtled the Subaru through the farmyard. Front in class, Sanders and Jericho were not taking any chances as they looked to wrap up the championship. Although slower than Burger in a similar car, Botha was still climbing the leaderboard. Further down the field, Mally Seville and Alec Harris made a spectacular entrance into the corner, but were left looking for gears. They would press on to the finish regardless.
Jan, for the umpteenth